Every year, F1 fans pick their heroes and their villains. And in 2026, the lines have never been clearer. One of the most booed drivers in recent memory is also one of the most loved. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why both are true. Another one is sitting in a Formula One car purely because his daddy wrote a check. And the third? He's been causing drama in every team he's touched. Stick around, because the driver sitting at number 1 on the hated list, half of you have him as your phone wallpaper. Number 1. Charles Leclerc. Be honest, when Charles Leclerc qualified on pole in Monaco, did you actually believe Ferrari had a plan? Or did you already know how it was going to end? That's the thing about watching Leclerc. You've seen him deliver qualifying laps that made your jaw drop. And you've also watched Ferrari hand him strategies that belonged in a go-kart league. The talent was never the problem. The garage was. Here's what makes Charles Leclerc genuinely special in the context of this sport. You root for him even when you shouldn't still have hope. Ferrari fans love him, obviously. But even Red Bull fans, even neutral fans, you root for Charles. Why? Because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and in a sport full of PR robots giving you corporate answers in 4 languages, that honesty hits different. Think about those radio messages. This is so painful. Come on, Charles. You connect with that on a human level because you felt that exact same thing watching from home. Look at his 2026 campaign. The Miami race was a disaster for him. A 20-second time penalty post-race for cutting the track on the final lap, dropped from 4th to 8th. And when Ferrari made a strategy call without looping him in, he said on the radio, "The next time you make a decision, please talk to me. I am here too." Here's my personal take, and this one might sting. Charles Leclerc is one of the most talented drivers on this grid, and Ferrari has consistently been the reason he doesn't have a world championship yet. If you put Charles in the 2026 McLaren or Mercedes, you'd be having a very different conversation right now. Charles Leclerc, fan favorite, fully deserved. Number 2. Okay, Max Verstappen, 4-time world champion, currently in his 11th season with Red Bull. And yes, he's on the loved list. Stay with me. Now you're probably already typing something in the comments. He's so aggressive. He's arrogant. He's a bully on track. And look, nobody here is going to tell you Max is a saint. He's not. He will defend hard, push you off the track, and do it with the confidence of a man who absolutely knows he's better than you. But here's the thing. You respect that because Max has never, ever pretended to be something he's not. And in a paddock full of carefully managed public images, that raw authenticity is magnetic. In 2025, he lost the championship to Lando Norris by just 2 points. And instead of crying in press conferences or throwing his engineers under the bus, this man was genuinely built differently. And honestly, the entertainment value alone earns him a spot on this list. The wet weather performances are the stuff of legend. He's basically Thanos with a crash helmet, inevitable, efficient, and completely terrifying to everyone standing in the way. Max Verstappen makes this sport feel dangerous and exciting, and that's exactly why you keep coming back. Number 3, Kimi Antonelli. This kid is 19 years old, 19, and he is already doing things in that car that have veteran engineers double-checking their data. His race pace in 2026 has been operating at a level that Mercedes themselves had not seen from a driver this early in their tenure. He won in Miami by holding off Lando Norris, the reigning world champion, in a 2-horse battle at the end of the race. He did it from pole, under pressure, on old tires, in front of a capacity crowd, at 19. Here's my take, and this is where I'll be controversial. Toto Wolff putting Antonelli in that car in 2025 was the greatest driver decision in F1 since Ferrari signed Michael Schumacher. He's basically the Itachi Uchiha of this grid, calm on the outside, absolutely devastating when it matters. The fans don't just like Antonelli, they're genuinely enchanted by him. And frankly, so is the rest of the paddock. All right, we've done the feel-good part. Now let's talk about the drivers that make the F1 comment section absolutely feral. These are real sentiments, real patterns, real reasons. You asked for honest F1 takes. Here they are. Number 1, Lando Norris. Half of you are screaming at your screen. And look, Lando Norris is the reigning 2025 Formula One World Champion. That's real. That happened. You're not getting that taken away from him. But here's the question you need to sit with for a second. How many of you, hand on heart, genuinely believe Lando Norris wins that 2025 championship in a midfield car? Because that McLaren was not just good, it was arguably the most dominant car the team has produced since the Senna era. And the question that fans can't let go of, the one that keeps this debate alive, is whether the number 1 on Norris's helmet reflects who he is or reflects what he was given. That's not a comfortable thing to say. Here's what makes Lando's relationship with the fan base genuinely complicated right now. When McLaren CEO Zak Brown stood up and called this the Lando Norris era, comparing him to Senna, Schumacher, and Hamilton, while Norris still hadn't won a title, the expectations the media built around him became impossible to satisfy. Every weekend he wasn't dominating, the backlash grew. My honest opinion, Lando Norris is a very good driver, maybe even great. But the gap between how he's been marketed and what he's proven across his full career has created a credibility problem that one championship in McLaren's strongest car cannot fully close. He's not hated because he's bad. He's hated because expectation and reality haven't aligned. And until they do, the skeptics aren't going anywhere. Number 2, Lance Stroll. In 2026, Lance Stroll is in his 10th Formula One season. And where is he? Still at Aston Martin, the team his father owns. Now look, you want to be fair here. Lance Stroll has genuine talent. He has a pole position in Turkey, he has 3 podiums. In wet conditions, the man can be genuinely electric. You're not going to pretend he can't drive. But here's the honest truth that the entire paddock knows, but only whispers. If his name wasn't Stroll, and if his father hadn't bought the team around him, Lance would not be on this grid. Full stop. That's not a hot take. That is the mathematical reality of Formula One seat allocation. And here's the pattern that fans have memorized by now. When something goes wrong, a bad qualifying lap, a poor race result, a mechanical issue, Lance has a habit of immediately, publicly, and loudly reaching for the radio to blame the car. Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, they've all driven cars that were genuinely terrible, and they came back the next weekend and found 2 seconds somewhere. Lance's default setting in those moments is to reach for the complaint before reaching for the solution, and fans remember every single one of those moments. Number 3, Esteban Ocon. Ocon has real talent. He won a Grand Prix. That 2021 Hungarian GP was genuinely one of the great underdog victories of the modern era. He got podiums at Sakir, at Monaco, at Brazil. He spent 5 years at Alpine and was, at various points, genuinely the best they had. So why is he on this list? Because Esteban Ocon has spent most of his career making enemies of everyone around him, in 2024, he collided with his own teammate Pierre Gasly in Monaco on the opening lap after team orders had been explicitly communicated to both drivers. That incident ended his Alpine chapter immediately. The Alpine boss wanted to bench him the very next race. Martin Brundle, one of the most respected voices in this sport, said publicly that no front-running team would entertain that kind of mentality. That's not fan noise. That's a respected F1 analyst saying your career is in danger because of your attitude. Here's the blunt take. Ocon arrived in Formula One with everything he needed to be a top 5 driver. Speed? Yes. Racecraft? Often. But what ultimately held him back was an inability to be a team player when it mattered. Formula One is not just about fastest lap times. He's not a bad person. But in the brutal, unforgiving world of Formula One in 2026, Esteban Ocon has repeatedly made it harder for people to fight for him. And that, ultimately, is why the fans have moved on. So there it is, 3 drivers the world loves, 3 drivers the world doesn't praise. And look, these are my opinions. You might think Norris deserves more love, or that Stroll gets unfairly treated, or that Leclerc is overrated. And if you do, tell me below. That's exactly what the comments are for. Drop your most loved and most hated drivers in the comments. I already know it's going to be chaos down there, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.